Hi, welcome. We're gonna do some practice with color drawing media, and for this video we're gonna look at chalk pastel. So we just finished a whole unit on value and shading with black and white media like graphite and charcoal and ink. Chalk pastel is very similar to charcoal. We tied this unit into color schemes as well, so practicing shading with the different schemes. For example, I picked some colors here. Let's start with a monochromatic purple scheme. So I've got purple, white, and black. I'm going to start with drawing out whatever the contours of my form. So I'm going to start with this purple sphere. Recommend looking at a source. You know, where's the highlight? If you don't have a strong sense of where your highlight and shadow is, it's going to be tricky. Now, chalk pastel is very messy. As you see, there's powder all over the place. So if you have an extra piece of paper around, you want to maybe tap the excess off as you go. There's also workable fixative you can spray, so it's more manageable. Now you can use your fingers to move it around, push the chalk into the fibers of the paper. And then I'm going to have a light source over here. So highlight, I'm going to use the white on top in this circular motion. Now, when you're shading a form, if you ever see this outline, you know you need to work on a smooth gradient. So you can pull the white into the base color, pull the base color into the white to start to get a gradient, right? And then to make the shadow nice and dark, we're going to add a little black. Now, black goes a long way, so don't get overly zealous with making the shadow. As you see, I'm leaving a little edge here for the reflected light. And right now, this is really dark, so even before I blend it too much, I'm going to take my purple back on top of the black. Okay. And then I can dab, press down with my finger, and I can move the chalk around as well. Okay, so you can see my edge is not crisp at all anymore, so I'm just gonna come around and refine where I want that edge to be, right? Where's my cast shadow? Through my observation, I can see the angle and the size and shape of it. And also, this looks really dark. I might bring a little bit of the purple over it for just a little more harmony. And that's a monochromatic form with chalk pastel. Moves, smudges all around. Some people love it, some people hate it, but my recommendation is to live with and practice with different media. Past that point of, I don't like it because I don't know what to do with it. It's really easy for students especially, even my advanced students, some have aversion to certain material, but it usually comes down to not really knowing it in depth and not feeling confident with it. So this year we've been doing more material boot camps to just, in sketchbook, push yourself, experiment, try, get better, and then see what you can do with it creatively. So now if I was going to transform this monochromatic form into like a more complementary, color scheme, and I'd come in with the yellow in the background, and the contrast just pops. The image is much more bold. I like using neutral paper for these, and you see, bringing a little bit of that purple into the yellow toned it down a little bit, so it's actually not as painful to look at. And then maybe I want this table to just be really light. Right. So that's chalk pastel. Let's look at what happens when you make complementary sphere. You see I didn't start with an edge. I'm just going to build it as I go. I've got my paper designated so I don't just put this all over the table or the floor. I'm going to take the purple. I'm going to use my white. You can use the tints and shades in everything. If it's complementary or analogous, whatever you're using for your forms. So I'm going to use the white for my highlight. I'm pushing pretty firmly into the paper. Okay. And then I'm going to bring a little bit of purple into the core shadow. It's the darkest shadow on the form. Okay. Right now, it does not have depth. There's all these edges. I'm going to use the yellow back on top of the purple. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the excess. I can see where I might need to add some more. I want this part here to be much darker. Get my contrast. I'm pushing harder to make it darker. And I'm going to bring the yellow even back over this a little bit. And I'm going to allow the very edge of my shadow to kind of remain more purple. I'm going to do some moving this around to smooth it out. Okay. You can see the neutral gray right here really creates a sense of depth. And I can bring the black even back in if you want to, for the darker shadow. And the purple on the black. Okay. So, chalk pastel gets all over the place. It's messy, super fun, workable fixative. Highly recommended. And just lots of layering. Right? Lots of layers. Lots of layers. I might use a yellow back up here to just redefine my edge. Okay. Up next, we'll look at oil pastel.